My name is Cheyenne Roger, and I'm a third-year human kinetics student, and I play on the women's basketball team.
Hi, my name is Jennifer McMullen. I'm an instructor at the University of Windsor, and I do CrossFit and I play women's soccer.
My name is Emily Prevo. I'm a third-year human kinetics major, and I'm the captain of the women's basketball team.
I'm Chantal Vallée. I'm the women's basketball coach at the University of Windsor.
A leader is someone who is confident, trustworthy, and gets along with everyone that's a part of their team. They're able to show and tell people what to do, and they just bring the whole team together.
A leader is someone who has to be organized, hardworking, flexible, creative, and also reflective. The reflective element is something really important because you have to be able to identify your strengths and weaknesses as a leader and seek to improve those weaknesses, but also celebrate the strengths and improvements that you make as a leader, because it's important to love yourself.
So a leader has to be organized, focused, passionate, responsible. They have to have the team's best interest as their best interest. They can't be afraid to take risks and speak out and make changes that need to be changed. They have to respect everyone, have everyone respect them. It's important to have everybody on the same page when you're a leader.
Really, I think one of the best thing and the most important characteristic of a leader is somebody that has to have a vision. A leader needs to be a visionary. Without vision, there's no motivation. People will turn in circles. There's no direction. There's no sense of why we are here, what are we doing, where are we going, and I think that's very difficult. So there's leaders that we put in place that are positional leaders. So out of their titles or by their job description, they have to lead a certain group. But positional leadership doesn't give you much. It doesn't mean that you are actually a leader apart from your title. So leadership is not a title, and leadership is not a position. Leadership is something that you have to, first of all, when you lead people, have a vision about where they are going. Then you have to, like I said earlier, give a sense of direction. This is where we are going. This is how we are going to get there, and this is why we are doing it. And the second most important thing then to have that vision is to be able to share it, articulate it, make sure that the followers understand it and buy into it. So you have to be somewhat of a seller. You have to say, hey, this is, I'm a motivator, I have good characteristic of almost charisma, and empowering the people to believe and buy in the leader's vision. In order to say, I want to be part of that. So it's one thing to have a vision, but the other thing is to enact it, sell it, have people buy into it, and then put it into motion. I would say as a third part to this, a good leader has to be an empowerer. So I talked about this a little earlier, but the empowerer of the leader, more specifically, is what is in that vision for the subordinate. So if it's all about the leader or it's all about the organization, and there's nothing in it that will come back into helping and developing the subordinate, they're not going to be motivated. And you're going to be fighting against each other and say, why am I here? So
the most important part about being a woman and leader in sport for myself is being an inspiration for younger children, and particularly girls. I mean, women's sport has come such a long way, and now we're able to see women even beating their male counterparts in certain sports. So I think it's important that younger girls have women and older girls to look up to who are successful in their sports, and so they know themselves that they are able to accomplish these high standards in sports.
I think being a leader in female sports is something that's pretty special because there's a lot more work we as females have to do. There's a lot more barriers that we have to overcome. I got to experience this when I was playing soccer in Korea on a women's team full of Canadians and Americans. We got to play against some other Korean female teams, and we were considerably better than them based on the fact that in Canada we have a lot more access and resources that we can use to better ourselves. So a lot of the Korean teams looked up to us, and we felt that we should be sharing our knowledge and our resources with them to help empower them and reach their goals. So yeah, I think being a leader in female sports is about inspiring others and empowering others.
What it means to be a leader. It's been a privilege, especially in this community when it's so tight-knit and we have, little kids coming to our games and looking up to us. So in that aspect, it's been an honor to have little kids look up and strive to be what we are, which are successful women in sports, in academics, and leading, my team has been a great experience. Gives me a lot of confidence outside of basketball as well, with school, with job interviews, with work. It's very relatable into all aspects of my life. So I'm glad for that experience. It's great having the rookies come in and look up to me, to be able to show them the ropes and hopefully, be successful in the season with them. So it's great that they can look up to me and feel comfortable coming to me with issues. So really, in general, it's a privilege to be a leader in sport.
I really like that question about what does it mean to you to be a woman in sport? Because for the longest time, it meant so much to me. And I thought, wow, I am a woman and I'm a coach. And I'm a female coach. I'm a female leader. I'm a woman in leadership. And after a few years, and after I study more and more the leadership literature, and after I read more books, I realized I don't like that anymore. It doesn't matter. I am a coach and I'm a leader. It doesn't matter. My gender does not matter. And it's not that I want to be a woman coach. I just want to be a good coach. And it's not that I want to be a leader only for women. I just want to be a good leader. It happens that I am a woman. And I'm happy if that can be inspirational to some, and if that can be something that people look up to. But the bottom line is, my message, who I lead, who I influence in my life, thank God. And yes, if it's women, that's awesome. I'm very happy for it. And thank God also if it's guys. If there's some guys who are inspired by that and that can be touched and can have the same impact on them, that's awesome too. So I think when it comes down to leadership skills, and specifically whether it's in sports or in business, I think that the person and the human should be rewarded and recognized and appreciated for their leadership skill.
In today's society, there are more and more women becoming successful leaders, but there are still instances where they are overlooked in comparison to their male counterparts. And I mean, a part of that is due to, some women are a bit more timid and a bit more shy, and that kind of does influence how they perform in terms of leadership. But I think if women can start to work on that part of themselves, I think that they are just as capable as males in being successful leaders.
Some of the struggles that women face in leadership roles, I guess what I have to say would be just people telling you that you can't do something. For example, with doing CrossFit, my dad would say, women shouldn't be lifting heavy weights, but I love doing the weights, and I think it's great for building strength and confidence in yourself. In terms of soccer, again, it would just be access to resources, funding, things like that women just don't get as much as men, as well as media coverage.
I think we're very privileged here in North America, but it's not necessarily the case all over the world. I think there's still a lot of issues with inequality. Women's opinions aren't as respected elsewhere in the world. Men don't necessarily take our advice, our opinions to the same effect as other men. So it's tough for women in position of power other places that don't get the respect that we have as women here. So I definitely think that's a huge issue other places.
I think the struggles that I have faced as a woman in leadership, and I think it's changing, but it is the fact that because I'm a woman, I was labeled as something different. Because I was a woman, I was labeled as a woman's coach or a female coach. And while I am those things, it seemed that it became as a limitation. So therefore, perhaps, for example, some of my publications or writings, some perhaps guys would not be interested because I'm a woman. That's just very sad. And if they aren't, that's okay. There's nothing against it. But it shouldn't be, we shouldn't label each other in those categories. And so, again, we should just be able to say, is that person exhibiting good leadership? And if yes, is that person successful? If yes, what can we do to learn from them? And I did that because I started to, at the beginning of my career, do the same thing with, well, I want to be a good basketball coach, therefore I will only read about successful basketball coaches. And that limited me, and quite frankly, until I expanded my horizon and started to read about successful military officers, successful doctors, successful businessmen and women, successful even actors, and the story of successful athletes and all kinds of different ways and schemes of life, I started to really expand my knowledge of leadership, and I think I became better in that sense. And so I think the limitation of the gender, it is still true, but I think it's going away with a lot more opportunities that some women are being recognized, especially in the world of sport. Like now there's a full-time NBA coach with the Spurs, and there's a voice that has to be put forward. For example, when Coach Pop, the head coach of the Spurs, says, I don't care, she's a girl, she knows the game and she's helping me win, and that's what's important. And I think that the voice of those guys in leadership are super important to.
Hi, my name is Logan Sims, and I'm also on the Windsor women's basketball team. I'm doing this project for an independent study for Dr. Reevely, talking about women in leaderships dealing with sports. This is a very important topic because it seems as though today women in leadership roles have glass ceilings that they are not able to break through. It's very important as women in different roles, whether it be business or sports or anything, that we know how to be a successful leader. This is not just telling people what to do, but also being an example and leading them in the right direction. Some advice I would give to women in leadership roles is to ask for what you need to be successful. It is known that women are less likely to ask for salary raises, yet we need to ask for them when we feel like they are earned. As women, we need to not be afraid to embrace characteristics that us women can only bring to the workforce. In conclusion, embrace adversity and diversity and excel through it. We're all rooting